1409 The Matrix Pattern. 1409 The Matrix Pattern. The heavenly mandate realm Imperial Lord's robe was blowing in the wind. A horrifying gleam of divine light flashed in his eyes. He stared down at the mysterious figure and asked, "May I know your name, sir?" He called him sir because the person knew his father, the old Imperial Lord. "Who am I?" the mysterious man murmured, as if he was also a little confused. He looked at the tumbling demonic cloud in the sky and said to himself, "Dugu is already dead." "Dugu is dead?" The warriors all stared at him, and those top figures seemed to be searching for which figure's surname was Dugu in their minds. Soon they contracted their pupils slightly, and they seemed to have thought of someone. That was the time before the divine prefectures united, and he was a figure during the battle between the humans and demon beasts in the heavenly mandate realm. In the most recent war between the two races, there was a peak swordsman whose surname was Dugu, Hanzhou Sword Emperor. When he drew his sword from the sheath, the world shivered for him. It was said that during the battle, he alone slew many demon emperors. The Lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace murmured. Hanzhou Sword Emperor was a legend. According to some ancient records, his wife was killed by a warrior of the demon clan, and then he practiced swordsmanship alone, and became a disciple of many famous masters in the sword to study it. In the end, he perfected the skill of wielding swords, and he slew countless demon warriors. The final battle was that so-called super war. It was rumored that he went alone to the deep of demon realm with one single sword, killed countless warriors of the demon clan, and sealed the souls of countless demon clan warriors under his sword. It looked like the place where these younger people broke into was the land where he killed monsters. Hanzhou Sword Emperor, during the war of that year, pushed straight into the place of origin of the demon realm. The lord of the Jiang clan of Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven looked at Hanzhou Sword Emperor and asked, "Sir, have you already passed away?" Hanzhou Sword Emperor looked at him and said, "I suppose you could say that." He was no longer the Hanzhou Sword Emperor of that time. During that battle, he was devoured by many powerful warriors of the demon realm, but a wisp of his memory persisted. The spirits of the demons had eroded him, and the soul of his sword and the demons had been fighting for so many years. He was no longer what he used to be. Hanzhou Sword Emperor's body also contained the wills of countless big demon figures slain and buried by his own hands. And now they had all been combined as one, but still, the body was dominated by his own will. Before, he had been actually in a deep sleep state, until Yi Futian and others arrived. His will was awakened after Yi Wuchen pulled out that sword. In a sense, his experience and Yi Wuchen's experience were somewhat similar. He was also invaded by the wills of demons. Therefore, after seeing Yi Wuchen persist, he helped Yi Wuchen, because he saw himself in Yi Wuchen. The lord of the Jiang clan nodded slightly. He noticed that the Hanzhou Sword Emperor's body didn't seem to be concrete. It was condensed from wills. He had lost his life at that time. The Hanzhou Sword Emperor they saw today was no longer the Dugu Zhanzhou in the past. The powerful figures of demon clans all looked emotionless. Hanzhou Sword Emperor was also a big figure, whose name was well known in the heavenly mandate realm. He entered their demon world and exterminated the Qiongqi Great Demon Clan. Nobody expected that such a figure was still alive and was in the mountain range of origin. Even though he said he had fallen, he still stood there. Top figures of the heavenly mandate realm, at this moment all thought of Gu Tianxing. Since Hanzhou Sword Emperor could be alive, could Gu Tianxing also be? Although Hanzhou Sword Emperor was also a legendary figure, his strength in his peak period was not as high as Gu Tianxing's. Gu Tianxing was just a freaking genius. He even had touched the heavenly law. Many top figures turned their eyes back to Gu Donglu, who was above the single peak. The horror storm hovering above him was still flowing. Above his head, amid the terrifying spiral storm, an illusory phantom was looming, but the phantom was in the storm, in a distorted shape. "Go take him," a voice came out. The Imperial Lord of the Heavenly Mandate Realm didn't want to wait any longer. They had to take action after all. He raised his palm, grasping toward Gu Donglu in the air, and suddenly a large palm print headed toward the single peak and clawed toward Gu Donglu's body. Boom! When the big palm print arrived, a terrifying storm-like curtain appeared around Gu Donglu's body. which shrouded his surrounding area and isolated him from that palm print of great law. The palace owner of the violet heavenly palace glanced at him. Suddenly, the bright divine lightning lit up the earth and suddenly covered the sky. Thousands of thunderclouds gathered together, and the vast space seemed to have turned into a ruined world of thunder. The monstrous might of thunder attacked with the power of supreme destruction and blasted toward the place where Gu Donglu sat. He wanted to see what Gu Donglu had arranged and how he would stop them. Fizz! The shrieking horrific sound came out, and the terrifying thunderstorm rubbed against the light curtain around Gu Donglio's body. 9 beams of celestial light from Gu Donglio's body rushed into the sky and poured into the storm above the skydome. At this moment, the storm above the skydome suddenly dropped endless immortal light, completely sealing Gu Donglio's body, and the air flows of the great law above the sky flew down, blocking Gu Donglu from all attacks. Sacred beams of divine light sparkled and shone. Above the sky, the speed of the storm's rotation was extremely stable, and the storm turned into a matrix pattern, emitting aura toward all the 9 skies. It turned into a supermatrix pattern that enveloped the endless void air. Huge endless ancient characters surrounded the matrix pattern, which were Lin Bing Du Zhe Jia, Zhen Lai Qian and Xing. The 9 characters rotated, and the rays of celestial light rushed into the clouds, radiating demon beasts of hundreds of millions of miles, and the entire mountain range of origin was shaking, creating roars. A terrifying devouring force came out, emitting celestial light. The demon clouds above the sky were all rolling toward the matrix plane. At the same time, in the lower sky, the mountains were all collapsing, and the ground was cracking. Illusory figures of wills rose to the sky and merged into the slots on the edge of the matrix pattern, like becoming part of the matrix. Not only that, but the divine weapons buried under the ground of mountain range of origin also flew out and headed toward the matrix. Then they merged into the matrix slots and were refined into the pattern. Even Hanzhou Sword Emperor, who was right below the matrix, felt his body was out of control and would have to head toward the sky and merge into the matrix. However, he looked relaxed and extremely calm. Was it refining the law between the sky and earth and obtaining the fortune of the space? Those top figures had their pupils contracted and their hearts trembled. No wonder they had hardly encountered any threat since they came near this area. It turned out that all had been absorbed by this super matrix. Was he going to borrow the power of the whole mountain range of origin, refining all the power into the super matrix? The imperial lord of the heavenly mandate dynasty and the lord of the Jiang clan stared at the matrix in the upper sky. Their robes were blowing in the mind, and their hearts were slightly stirred. The scene was so familiar to them. They wouldn't forget how intimidating Gu Tianxing's life spirit celestial matrix was. Was this matrix transformed from his life spirit? In the void sky, over the matrix, 9 celestial flashes merged into it. In the end, an illusory figure sat on the matrix. The illusory figure looked solemn and sacred. Even though it was just a blurry shadow, one could still see his domineering appearance. Gu Tianxing was alive. Even if he was not, he still had thoughts in the world, and the plan he set was still in existence. The Lord of Brahma's pure sky, Lord of the 10,000 divine mountains, and the big figures of the demon world also had complex feelings. Too powerful. Even so many years after he had fallen, Hanzhou still had such mighty power. Yi Futian saw this and finally understood why this deceased person, after so many years, could still make the whole heavenly mandate realm tremble. Unless he completely disappeared, those powerful giants of the heavenly mandate realm would never be at peace. In a distant place, a group of warriors from the heavenly mandate realm were trapped in a relic, but at this moment, the relic fell and collapsed violently. Cracks appeared on the ground, and a series of phantoms headed directly toward the distance. A demonic weapon was born from here. It was a peerless ominous sword, but it was also rolled into the distance. Not just here. Similar scenes were happening everywhere in the mountain range of origin. In the mountain range of origin, everyone looked up in one direction, and they could faintly see the matrix of the great law above the skydome, and the matrix was still growing. Only the people standing directly below the pattern could truly feel how terrifying this matrix was. Within hundreds of thousands of miles of the space, There were countless chaotic shadows roaring and rumbling, and then being swallowed up, and countless divine weapons were also involved in the whirls. It seemed to have become a matrix pattern of the heavenly law. It still spun in an orderly way, absorbing everything in the world. Saint-level warriors were already powerful ones of their territories, and no longer had perishable bodies. But at this time, Yi Futian and other warriors standing under the matrix just felt so small, like millet in the sea. If Gu Tianxing was alive, what did he want to do with this matrix? Gu Donglio's body floated up, and came right below the towering matrix. At this moment, the palace lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace finally lost patience. He stepped out, stretching out his hands. In an instant, endless divine thunder appeared around his body, glaring in the vast world. And there was also a matrix showing up around his body, which was the matrix of divine thunder. The matrix swallowed the divine thunder between the sky and earth. Hundreds of millions of lights of catastrophe shone at the same time, covering the boundless space. Since you are dead, just rest in peace. The voice of the Heavenly Palace Lord was overbearing. Following his voice, hundreds of millions of divine thunders slashed toward the celestial matrix over the skydome, and also hit toward Gu Donglio's body. Even after so many years, Gu Tianxing still was a strong threat to him. There was no other person in the heavenly mandate realm that could bring him this kind of feeling. For so many years, Gu Tianxing was the only one. He had not expected that Gu Tianxing was still so terrifying to him after his death. The heavenly divine thunder rose against the wind. The matrix of heavenly law in the void sky dropped hundreds of millions of beams of divine light, as if innumerable demons transformed from demons rushed out. Countless divine weapons and instruments also fell, and turned into divine light that could annihilate everything, colliding with the force of thunder. Boom! Above the sky, there seemed to be destructive might, and the appalling divine light of thunder was restrained, and could not attack Gu Donglio's body. Above the divine matrix, Gu Tianxing's phantom gradually solidified. He looked down at the warriors in the lower sky and said, a voice that sounded like it was coming from outside the sky. One who has inherited the laws of origin can be the new king of the demon realm. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1410 to make a new king. Chapter 1410 to make a new king. The laws of origin. The new king of the demon realm? Big figures of the demon realm looked up at the sky. What did he mean by the laws of origin? What did the new king of the demon realm mean? Could it be that Gu Tianxing wanted to obtain the power of the mountain range of origin and create a new king of the demon realm? But who did he think he was? Boom! Above the sky, the divine pattern of the great law was moving. Endless divine light bloomed, and the demon clouds tumbled and roared violently, pouring into the divine pattern. All the warriors could see countless phantoms flowing into it, and solemn chants from the matrix pattern came out like demons' whispers. He wants to seize the laws of the whole mountain range of origin, the Dragon Emperor said coldly. He had transformed into his original form, a sacred purple gold divine dragon, with 9 claws below his belly and a body tens of thousands of meters long. When hovering above the sky, he looked like a heavenly dragon, covering the sky and hiding the sun. But even so, below the ultimate divine pattern, at this moment he still looked small, and was shrouded by the celestial might of the matrix. The vast and boundless mountain range of origin was shaken even harder. Peaks were torn apart, and cracks appeared on the earth. Rivers flowed backward, and tens of thousands of monsters all fell to their knees. The divine pattern was getting bigger and bigger, almost about to radiate toward the whole vast and boundless mountain range of origin area. A supreme power merged into the divine pattern. The 9 immortal shadows controlled the 9 characters, and blended with them to launch the divine matrix. At this moment, the big figures below faintly felt the mighty pressure of the heavenly law, but could not do anything to fight against it. Stop! The Dragon Emperor let out a roar, and the sky and earth trembled. The void air was about to shatter. But this roar did not affect the operation of the divine matrix, and the great law divine pattern was still rotating in a balanced manner. After a while, a tall and boundless phantom, showed up on the top of the divine pattern. At this time, in the infinite space of the mountain range of origin, many weak demon beasts knelt on the ground and worshipped. Even some powerful demon saints had an impulse to bow at this moment. Even the demon emperors looked solemn and stared at the figure that just showed up. Was that phantom the demon monarch? The mountain range of origin was born from the demon monarch. When the demon monarch unified the demon realm, the mountain range of origin was where the demon monarch palace was built. After the demon monarch passed away, his skeleton turned into this endless mountain range and became a part of the mountain range of origin. Countless great demon beasts were bred from here, so it became called the place of origin. Now, Gu Tianxing wanted to seize the creative power of the mountain range of origin and let the demon monarch reveal himself. Was this what he said, inheriting the laws of origin? That was crazy. Giant figures of the heavenly mandate realm were stirred by the scene. What did Gu Tianxing do? After his death, did he merge his soul into the mountain range of origin just for this moment? Stop him, the imperial lord of the heavenly mandate dynasty said. His royal robe was dancing in the wind. He stepped into the void sky, and a faint phantom of a supreme renhuang of tens of thousands of meters in height loomed behind him, like a god, supporting that side of the sky. He stretched out his palm, and the great law divine light of all skies shot at him. The immense imperial might swept across the sky and earth, and countless wisps of keen life forces appeared between the sky and the earth, like endless divine weapons rushing toward him. His outstretched palm turned into a divine sword that pierced through the sky, and he raised his hand and slashed toward the divine pattern of the great law in the upper sky. At this moment, a huge, endless divine sword chopped toward the sky and instantly reached right below the celestial divine pattern, stabbing toward the center of the divine pattern. The imperial lord of the heavenly mandate dynasty was still standing in one place, but his arms and the divine pattern in the void sky seemed to be connected, which were all part of the divine sword light. Boom! The infinitely huge divine pattern trembled fiercely when attacked by the divine sword, but then the tremble gradually subsided, and the pattern continued spinning. It was not disturbed, and kept obtaining the creation power between the sky and earth. The imperial lord of the heavenly mandate dynasty was calm. Divine light shot out from his palm, and endless divine weapons integrated into the sword, emitting light beams that pierced through the sky, trying to chop off the divine pattern. Above the divine pattern, the figure sitting cross-legged glanced at him. Instantly, celestial light shone, and the beaming 9 characters above the divine pattern rotated. It looked like demons of all skies rushing out of the matrix slots. At the same time, the glare of the 9 characters shone down, blasting towards the imperial lord. At this moment, demons of all skies smashed down from the divine matrix at the same time toward the heavenly mandate imperial lord. The heavenly mandate dynasty imperial lord's huge figure held the divine sword with both hands. The divine sword flew, releasing magnificent radiance, tearing off all the skies. Many approaching demons were torn and shattered, but the radiance of the great law divine matrix was endless, which vanquished everything and pounced on his body. The heavenly mandate imperial lord's hands shook, and accordingly, the shape of the sword changed. It turned into a boundless huge golden bell. Clang! The sound of the bell resonated between the sky and earth. The boundless glory of the great law divine bell wiped out all the demons around. However, above the divine matrix in the sky, huge demon figures descended from the sky, as if all the demons in the place of origin were blended into the power of the divine matrix, which contained the power to destroy the world. Boom! A giant foot stepped on the imperial bell, and more demons were approaching, destroying all existence. Seeing this, the heavenly mandate dynasty imperial lord looked embarrassed. He held the imperial bell in his hand to sweep down toward the void air unwavering. The attacks of the laws continued to fall endlessly. The ground collapsed and shattered at the feet of the heavenly mandate dynasty, and his body was sinking. At this time, the boundless and gorgeous divine light on the matrix pattern lit up the sky. Sacred and shining killing light went straight down, targeting the heavenly mandate dynasty imperial lord's body. Boom! After a loud noise, the bodies of cultivators below imperial rank were all shaken away, and flew to distant places. Yi Futian was the same, and when he stabilized his body, the scene in front of him had already changed, and he was hundreds of miles away. He looked up at the divine pattern in the sky. It was still so dazzling, covering the whole space inside it. Not only that, but when he looked into the distance, he could still see the peerless figure standing over the skydome. A groan escaped from his mouth. His blood was boiling. If the divine matrix had not been targeting the Imperial Lord, its aimless attack could wipe out all of them. Even some warriors of Imperial rank were shaken from the central area to the edge of the land, only for their safety. Yi Futian stared toward that direction. Even though the attack used so much might, it still did not affect the operation of the divine matrix. Even the Imperial Lord of the Heavenly Mandate dynasty might be injured by such a blow. Boom! The divine thunder shone between the sky and earth. Even Yi Futian was in a place hundreds of miles away. There was also lightning radiating in this area and shining in the sky. Yi Futian looked toward the central area of the thunder divine light, where the place Lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace summoned the catastrophic divine thunder and blasted it towards the sky divine matrix. They had to stop Gu Tianxing. Although they didn't know what Gu Tianxing wanted to do, he seized the power of the place of origin and let the demon monarch that had been underground for many years show up. So he must have a big scheme. The endless divine thunder blasted toward the sky and shrouded it. The divine matrix was still running. Demon-like figures showed up from the divine matrix, their bodies spinning. A divine sword was cast out of the demons of all skies and weapons. It thrust directly toward the Violet Heavenly Palace Lord in the lower sky. Yi Futian couldn't open his eyes because of the dazzling light. When the two attacks collided, another gust of heavenly might swept out. Their bodies were once again shaken by the shock, and were shook hundreds of miles away. Many warriors coughed up blood, and got hit by the after wave of the light of thunder, bodies burning. Yi Futian and his companions were all scattered, and were in different directions. But everyone was still watching the appalling scene over there. At this time, Gu Dongluo's body flew to the void air, and appeared below the divine matrix. He sat cross-legged, eyes closed, and his long black hair was flying wildly in the wind. Under that might, he seemed calm while sitting, without knowing the outside changes. At this time, the divine light descended over him and poured into his body. He was receiving the laws of origin. A thought came into many people's minds. Gu Tianxing was trying to make himself the new king of the demon realm. He absorbed all creation power of the mountain range of origin and merged it into Gu Donglio's body. The big figures of the demon realm all looked sullen. This lunatic had passed the creation power of the mountain range of origin in the demon realm to one single person. But Gu Donglu, could he handle it? The cultivation plane couldn't be taught directly to a person. At this moment, 9 beams of celestial light surrounded Gu Donglio's body, and then poured directly into him. The 9 ancient characters also rushed above his body at the same time, as if they were guarding him, so that he could inherit the laws of origin. The original form of the Lord of Sky Demon Court was a 3-legged golden raven. He stood below the divine matrix, and there was a golden aura of divine flame around him, like a sun deity. He stared at the figure in the void sky and said, "You want to pass the creation power of the demon realm to a human?" Gu Tianxing was a lunatic. The mountain range of origin contains the belief of the demon monarch, was transformed from the demon monarch's flesh. The whole mountain range is filled with his wills. Before I died, I integrated my laws into his laws, so that I could one day launch it. Except me, there is no second person in the heavenly mandate realm able to do it. The voice in the upper sky was extremely solemn, spreading through the mountain range of origin. From now on, he will be the only one who inherits the belief of the demon monarch and wills of countless demon emperors and demon saints of the mountain range of origin. He was the future of the demon realm. After his laws get proven, he will become the new king of the demon realm. As a human, he was guided by the celestial cultivation method. But you said he will bear the origin of the demon realm, and you Gu Tianxing's heritage of celestial laws? The Sky Demon Court Lord asked in a loud voice. Gu Tianxing was just crazy. He wanted to create a new king. Now the world was under the rule of the human race. After Emperor Yecheng was expelled, the demon clans were split. Although they were still strong, they all understood that the demon world was still under the shadow of human cultivators, unless a new king showed up. Gu Tianxing wanted to create a new emperor. Moreover, if Gu Donglu bore the laws of origin, he would have an inseparable relationship with the demon world. By creating a new demon king, do you think you can do it as you want? The Dragon Emperor asked coldly. Since the unification of the world, for 300 years, has anyone in the heavenly mandate realm been stronger than me, Gu Tianxing? A domineering voice asked from the upper sky. The path he is taking is destined to surpass mine in the future. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1411 The Celestial Gates Participation. Chapter 1411 The Celestial Gates Participation. Gu Tianxing's overbearing voice shocked the world and made countless people's hearts tremble. Since the two emperors unified the world, Gu Tianxing indeed was at the peak of the heavenly mandate realm. One should know that in the past thousands of years, the heavenly mandate dynasty had been the leader of the heavenly mandate realm. The old imperial lord dominated the domain for thousands of years, until the new imperial lord ascended the throne. And then the former imperial lord stepped down. He was like a super being of this world. But in the battle less than a century ago, because Gu Tianxing's offspring was assassinated by the crown prince of heavenly mandate dynasty, Gu Tianxing entered the dynasty court in a rage, and fought with both the old and the new imperial lords. To repel Gu Tianxing, the former imperial died in the dynasty court, but also severely injured Gu Tianxing, which led to the battle in Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven, during which Gu Tianxing also lost his life. However, judging from that battle, even the Zhonglan imperial lord of the heavenly mandate dynasty, who dominated the realm for thousands of years, died in the hands of Gu Tianxing. Not to mention the warriors appearing after the reunification of the world. Perhaps no figures in the past were comparable with him. Therefore, even though his words are incredibly arrogant, everyone had to admit that since the two emperors ruled the world, in the heavenly mandate realm, Gu Tianxing could be considered as the top one. At that time, Gu Tianxing's son Gu Jiangnan was not less talented than his father. Since Gu Donglu might be Gu Jiangnan's offspring, and used to be sealed by celestial methods, his talent must also be incredibly amazing. If he also obtained Gu Tianxing's celestial cultivation method and the laws of origin, what kind of monster would he become? There could be no suspense for him to reach the Runhuang level. Gu Tianxing was the first figure who made a breakthrough at that level, which could be seen from the fact that his wills integrated into the mountain range of origin and invoked the spirit of the demon monarch. He was the person who had reached the Runhuang plain, which was why he could do all these. If Gu Donglu inherited the laws of origin, he would also own the talents of tens of thousands of demons, and in the future, he might have the opportunity to ascend to the throne of monarch. Moreover, if he ascended to the throne, he would even be more suitable than the previous Emperor Yecheng. After all, Emperor Yecheng was just a human cultivator who could control demon beasts and was intimate with them. But Gu Donglu directly inherited the laws derived from the tens of thousands of demons' laws of the mountain range of origin. From this point of view, he was more suitable as the new king of the demon realm. Unless, like the ancient times, a demon monarch appeared from their own clans in the demon realm. But it was extremely difficult for demon beasts to seize the creation power between heaven and earth and take that step. It was also the difference between demon beasts and human cultivators. Demon beasts were very hard to touch the pinnacle that was within human beings' ability. Futian heard Gu Tianxing's voice and trembled inwardly. No matter, he was an unparalleled figure that intimidated the whole heavenly mandate realm. Gu Tianxing knew that the heavenly mandate realm could not tolerate the third brother. So he wanted to bind him together with the warriors of the demon realm? The only thing was that it was not that easy to let these prominent figures of the demon realm admit him as the new king. Only if the third brother had the strength of that level one day. If he just received those laws, these prominent figures of the demon realm would just watch and not care about him. After all, they were already at the peak of their level. Boom! The might of thunder roared again. The Lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace summoned the thunder od destruction and threw it toward the direction where Gu Donglu was located, right below the divine matrix pattern. How difficult was it to kill Gu Tianxing at that time? If previously both the old and new imperial lords who had seriously injured him, they would not have been able to kill Gu Tianxing. However, even so, Gu Tianxing had not died yet, and now he also wanted to create a new king of the demon realm, whose talent was higher than himself. If Gu Tianxing really did this, it would be a great disaster for them. Therefore, for the two major forces, the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and the Violet Heavenly Palace, it was necessary to stop Gu Tianxing. In the land of Heavenly Mandate Realm, many top imperial clans in the demon domain coexist and govern the demon world together, each of which had their territories. The world of human cultivators and the demon realm is divided by the boundary stone and never interfere with each other. Gu Tianxing, you let all the great powers of the demon realm show reverence to a young saint-playing cultivator who is also your descendant. Don't you feel it ridiculous? From the collapsed ground, the imperial lord of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty rose to the sky and raised his hand to cover the sky. Infinite divine palm prints appeared at the same time, destroying the great law of the heaven and earth and blasting toward the place where Gu Donglu stood below the divine pattern. Two peak figures both wanted to wipe out Gu Donglu here to prevent future problems. The divine pattern rotated, and the heavenly might came down. Appalling divine light bloomed from the vast and boundless fighting wills. Giant ancient characters appeared above the skydome. Demon-like phantoms stepped down, like demons of all skies chanting in all skies, punching out fists of destruction, piercing through the great laws in the space. When the attacks collided, the sky and earth seemed to fall apart, mountains collapsed. The ground was cracking, and the land turned into a deep canyon. The Lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace, and the Imperial Lord of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty God, was shaken into the crack of the canyon and quelled down below. The divine pattern still released the bright divine aura. The 9 characters' radiance flew at the same time, and the demons of all the skies surround the 9 figures, extremely solemn. Boom! At this moment, the heavenly might fell, and a phantom from the divine pattern crushed down from the sky. The demons of all heavens became one, thrusting toward the two people. Even those top figures of the Heavenly Mandate realm moved back quickly to avoid this attack. The Lord of the Heavenly Palace and the Imperial Lord of the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty felt the terrifying power of this attack, and they walked fast in the same way, raising their hands and removing the ground that obstructed their movements. However, it was too late. The demons of all skies came down with the divine pattern. They looked toward the sky, divine light erupting from their bodies, releasing the strongest might. The endless thunder protected the Lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace. A vast ancient bell surrounded the Imperial Lord of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty. Those giant figures who dodged the attack looked at this side from a distance, hearts shaking. This attack had reached the limit. Even giant characters like the Lord of Violet Heavenly Palace and the Imperial Lord of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty could not exert their strengths and crushed. A devastating airstream swept past, and the bright light dispersed. There, the crowd saw 2 peak figures showing up, but their clothes seemed to be a little messy, and even there were bloodstains on their bodies. The shock injured these 2 giant figures. I will not blame all the people who participated in that thing, except the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and the Violet Heavenly Palace. If you have any concerns, my grandson Gu Donglu can marry the goddess of Brahma's pure sky if she agrees. As for 10,000 Divine Mountain, Gu Donglu can also go to cultivate with the Mountain Lord. He again talked. Every sentence Gu Tianxing said seemed to be paving the way for Gu Donglu to prevent future troubles. There were too many people who attacked him at that time. If he were attached to hatred, Gu Donglu would surely die, and no one could save him. For some things he should just let them go. He didn't blame others for his death, except the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and the Violet Heavenly Palace. Those 2 significant forces could not be forgiven, especially the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty. This time, will you really go? The lord of the Jiang clan looked up and said to Gu Tianxing. Gu Tianxing's phantom sat in the center of the divine matrix, nodding calmly. I asked you to die once, but now, you are really going to depart this life. The lord of Jiang clan said, farewell. Warriors around him heard his words, and were all stirred. At that time, did the lord of Jiang clan ask Gu Tianxing to die? That was to say, at that time the celestial gate of vast heaven sacrificed the Gu clan. After they had reached a tacit understanding, Gu Tianxing was struck hard and must be sacrificed. The Gu clan couldn't survive. Therefore, he asked Gu Tianxing to die. So, had the lord of Jiang clan also participated in today's plan? Was it also the reason that Gu Tianxing did not wholly die at that time? You hit it so deeply. The lord of 10,000 Divine Mountain thought to himself. They were really cruel to themselves. The Gu clan's death was used in exchange for the prosperity of the celestial gate of vast heaven. And did they make the arrangement for today? At that time, they were all in celestial gate of vast heaven, and witnessed Gu Tianxing's death. But he was now still alive, and also Gu Donglu. If the celestial gate of vast heaven said they didn't know anything, nobody would believe it. Obviously, the celestial gate of vast heaven directly participated in everything. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 14:12 The Battle for the Imperial Bone. Chapter 14:12 The Battle for the Imperial Bone. The three clans jointly controlled the celestial gate of vast heaven. And when the news came out that year, people said they were divided. Now it seemed that it was just a show for the warriors of the heavenly mandate realm. The relationship between Gu Tianxing and the lord of the Jiang clan was better than people had expected. The lord of the Jiang clan told him to rest in peace. More dazzling and sacred light shone, and Gu Tianxing's body gradually merged into the divine matrix. In the monstrous divine matrix, hundreds of millions of demons' wills. At this moment, all went towards Gu Donglu at the center of the divine matrix. For a while, extremely bright celestial light was released from Gu Donglu's body, and Gu Tianxing's body seemed to also integrate with him to protect him. The lord of the Jiang clan waved his hand and sent a beam of celestial light to him. At this moment, Gu Donglu had the 9 celestial beings as his armor. Gu Tianxing and the lord of the Jiang clan were his guards. He had inherited the laws of origin, and his ability was strengthened by the divine matrix. He had indeed obtained the creation power of the sky and earth, which reflected Gu Tianxing's high hopes for him. Gu Tianxing hoped that before his death, he could create a hero that could outdo himself in the future, a person that could challenge heavenly laws. Although it sounded unreal, he had hope for Gu Donglu, who was enhanced by so many ultimate methods. Many big figures around also understand what kind of monster Gu Tianxing had created. As long as he did not die, Gu Donglu was destined to have a bright future and become a giant in the heavenly mandate realm. He shouldered the mission to destroy the heavenly mandate dynasty. The divine matrix has merged with him, people yelled. Everyone was looking at the scene in front of them and trembled inside. The super divine matrix merged into Gu Donglu's body. Over Gu Donglu's body, the celestial light shone and rushed straight into the sky. The 9 characters circled him. The souls of the 9 immortals seemed to be burning. The lord of Jiang clan looked solemn. Even the top big figures in the heavenly mandate realm were stunned. The Gu clan was not extinct. They still had one person. This last person carried the hope of the entire Gu clan. Those top figures of the Gu clan had completed their final mission and dedicated everything to Gu Donglu. Although they could not see the future, they still made wishes for the future. Gu Donglu of the Gu clan would dominate the heavenly mandate realm and continue the Gu clan's bloodline, returning to the peak. Those giant figures of the demon realm were somewhat stressed. How should they treat Gu Donglu? He bore the laws of origin. Just as Gu Tianxing said, Gu Donglu would be the only one who inherited the laws of demon monarch in the place of origin of the demon realm and wills of demons of all skies. The creation power of the mountain range of origin would only belong to Gu Donglu. So should they destroy him or recognize him? There was a brief silence in the vast space. Everyone silently watched what happened, including Yi Futian and others in the distance. At this time, Yi Futian and the Sword Saint were both happy for Gu Donglu. The third disciple of Cottage could finally shine in the heavenly mandate realm. However, while they were happy, they were also slightly worried. The shock he caused this time was too great, and they couldn't predict what would happen next. What would these giant figures in the demon realm and the human peak figures do to him? If everyone still targeted him, he would have the same ending as before. Gu Donglu would be hunted down and be killed just like Gu Clan. However, today's situation was not the same as it was at that time. Time was changing, and people's hearts were also changing. In ancient times, the demon monarch was buried in the mountain range of origin, the place where the demon realm was established, the place of origin of our demon clans. But now, this human cultivator seized the laws of origin of our demon realm and destroyed the creation power of thousands of years. Someone said this, shrieking. Warriors followed the voice and saw the purple golden rat king in a golden robe, talking to people of the demon realm. What do you think of this? He has obtained the laws of origin and should be regarded as a member of the demon realm. He inherits the thought of the demon monarch and wills of hundreds of millions of great demons. So now, he is not just a human cultivator, the Lord of Jiang Clan roared. Other warriors looked at Gu Donglu. His handsome face indeed had sort of demonic characteristics. As the Lord of the Jiang Clan said, Gu Donglu had inherited the supreme demonic laws this time, and he could be regarded as a half-demon. Moreover, if you kill him, the demon realm will no longer have the thoughts of demon monarch, and the laws of creation of the mountain range of origin will go extinct. The Lord of the Jiang Clan continued. Give him a chance, wouldn't it be better? Can he become the same as us just by seizing the creation power of the mountain range of origin? The Lord of Yingzhou Mountain also said coldly. He wore a long silver robe. Extremely sharp life force was being released from his body. He looked towards several other big figures. The Divine Elephant Emperor, the Dragon Emperor, King of the Sky Demon Court, and the Golden Raven Demon Lord. They were the most influential giants in the demon realm, and their strengths were relatively more powerful. I think it is not necessary to intervene. Let's just wait and see what his future will be like. At this moment, a big demon beast said. Demon warriors looked back at the speaker behind the Dragon Emperor. It was Zhu Yan Demon Emperor. His relationship with the Dragon Divine Clan seemed good, so he was standing behind the Dragon Emperor. However, the demon beasts were not surprised. The Thunder Divine Clan was a branch of the Dragon Divine bloodline. In the past, the head of the Thunder Divine Clan followed Emperor Yeqing. So did the Snow Ape Emperor of the Ape Clan. So the relationship of the Dragon Divine Clan and the Ape Clan was not bad. Today, the Thunder Divine Demon Emperor was also cultivating in the Celestial Demon City. I think so too, the Dragon Emperor slowly said. Gu Donglio's enemies were the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and Violet Heavenly Palace. Even if demon clans just let him be, the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and Violet Heavenly Palace would deal with him, and their grievances with the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven would probably continue. The dispute among human cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate realm would be good for the demon beasts. As for the future, they would see what level Gu Donglu could reach. The Divine Elephant Emperor looked around and seemed to be looking for something. He was more concerned about Yi Futian than Gu Donglu. The heritage of mountain range of origin had been passed down for generations, and now it was more of a symbolic thing. The demon realm had long been separated from the mountain range of origin, and demon clans all existed independently. But the Demon Emperor Bone of Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions belonged to their ancestors. Since the laws of Demon Monarch had been passed on to Gu Donglu, should the Divine Elephant Clan take back the inheritance of Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions? In the distance, many figures appeared. Those warriors who had been shaken away gradually returned to the lower sky. Yi Futian and his companions also came. The Divine Elephant Emperor glanced down at Yi Futian and slightly moved, which aroused a suffocating might in this space. The Hanzhou Sword Emperor glanced up and looked at the Divine Elephant Emperor. Whether you are a man or a ghost, You should return the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions to us, the Divine Elephant Clan. The Elephant Emperor's voice was overbearing. It shrouded the air above everyone's head, especially Yi Futian. The suffocating might was strong for him. Yi Futian looked up at the Emperor and said, "It's not that I want to take the Divine Elephant Bone of 10 Directions as my own, but that the Elephant Emperor's bone has been refined and integrated into my body, and has become part of me. How is it possible that you could refine the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions?" The Elephant Emperor questioned him imposingly. In his eyes, Yi Futian was boasting. Maybe I was destined to encounter the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions. Otherwise, I would not have had the chance to get it, Yi Futian said. There was a sound of elephant rumbling in his body, and soon, a phantom of the Divine Elephant appeared. The divine might shrouded the void air, and the horrifying demonic imperial light loomed from his body. The scene stunned many people. Was the bone refined by him? The Divine Elephant Emperor also showed a surprised look. Could a saint-plain human cultivator refine the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions? When I got the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions, I didn't know what it was and couldn't pry into its mystery. But this young man was able to unravel the secret and refine it. It seems that he was indeed chosen by the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions. Since your ancestor has given him a chance, why can't you be more generous? The Zhuyan Demon Emperor said to the Divine Elephant Emperor, "You are not from my clan, so you know anything about it, and it is not relevant to you. It is only in the hands of the Divine Elephant Clan that the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions can exert its strongest power," the Divine Elephant Emperor said coldly. "But even if I give the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of 10 Directions to you, Divine Elephant Clan sir, I don't think you will unlock its mystery. I can take full advantage of it, not less," Yi Futian continued. "Talking big," a warrior of the Divine Elephant Clan said in a cold voice. A young saint-plain demon beast of the Divine Elephant Clan stepped out. The void sky shook. A phantom of a divine elephant appeared over his body, his might overwhelming the void air. He looked down at Yi Futian below and said, "How much power of the Divine Elephant Imperial Bone can you use?" Yi Futian stared at him and said, "I welcome your instruction." After those words, his body flickered, and he descended into the void air. Above his head, that powerful demon elephant stepped down and trampled over all the skies. Giant elephant phantoms appeared, their extremely stout elephant legs trampling towards Yi Futian's body with immense power and repressing laws. A terrifying storm was born. The foot stepped down, which made many feel like Yi Futian's thin body below would be broken. At this moment, Yi Futian also stepped into the void sky, quelling the world, and the sound of the elephant trumpeting came out. His body was shining with golden light, and a huge elephant phantom wrapped him in it. The divine elephant trampled down, but it was not able to shake Yi Futian's defense. The demon elephant in the void paused a second, and his footsteps came out again. The rumbling sound continued, and tens of thousands of elephants roared at the same time, almost crushing the space into pieces. Yi Futian was not afraid at all. It was as if he hadn't seen it. He stepped up against the trend, and similarly released countless golden elephant phantoms, which collided with elephants of the other side. At the same time, Yi Futian raised a punch and blasted out. A huge elephant phantom appeared over the sky, crushing the void air, and turning everything into pieces. His fist bloomed, and all the fist wheels turned into golden elephants, roaring in the sky and shattering a side of the world. The sky dome rumbled wildly, and with a dull sound, the warrior of the Divine Elephant Clan was directly hit. He turned back into his original form, and the body was huge, but even so, he was still shaken. The fierce power made him spit blood. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 14:13 Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky. Chapter 14:13 Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky. The eyes of all the mighty ones contracted when they saw that scene, especially the divine elephants. The earth-shattering trumpeting of elephants was heard from Yi Futian's body. Furthermore, he was shining with pure golden light all over. The shadow of a divine elephant shrouded his entire body, causing multiple specters of divine elephants to appear all about him, stepping into the sky as they moved. It was as if he was the king of the elephants. The space turned extremely solemn within mere moments. It was as if the divine elephant emperor of 10 directions had been resurrected. I've yet to use any of the divine elephant emperor of the 10 directions powers, Yi Futian said to the divine elephant emperor. Boom! Another rumble was heard, and yet another raging divine elephant shadow stepped forth. He was the top figure among the younger generations of the divine elephants, and a direct descendant of the divine elephant emperor, Xiang Mang. The mighty ones were all slightly rattled when they saw the one moving to attack. Xiang Mang was an extremely renowned figure in the demon realm, and he had the blood of the supreme elephant emperor flowing in his veins. If the divine elephants were to be able to get their hands on the bone of the divine elephant emperor of the 10 directions, they would have probably bestowed it to Xiang Mang. Xiang Mang caused the space around him to shake with just a single step, pinning down the great path. The air around Yi Futian felt stifling. He seemed to have seen 18 divine elephants stepping in the air at the same time, placing a lockdown on his immediate vicinity, pinning the space all around him dead, causing anyone caught in it unable to move. Yi Futian felt such pressure all over him at that moment. Xiang Mang was of a golden body and looked extremely dazzling. He stood in the air and made all around him wonder just how heavy that body of a human form would have to be just to be able to press down on the air around. He definitely had formidable powers, greater than the monster of Ingzhou Mountain Yi Futian faced back then. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying clashing noises were heard and the sky shook. The great path rattled as Yi Futian shot upwards, stepping out as he went. Get down! Xiang Mang shouted, and an incredibly massive leg of the divine elephant appeared, stepping onto the air above Yi Futian's head, ignoring the distance of the space altogether. Furthermore, that leg contained true, formidable might of the divine elephants, and was enormous. It was far stronger than the divine elephant who had fought before. Yi Futian lifted his head, and he too was clad in a golden elephant silhouette. He raised his arm and threw a punch in the air. The spectral punch shot to the air, and countless divine elephants trampled, causing a stampede in the air. They rammed into that enormous leg of the divine elephant. Countless shadows of the divine elephant were stomped on and shattered, yet they were still unable to stop the force of that elephant leg from coming down. Yi Futian threw another punch. A beam of divine light shot through the huge leg right away. A stifled rumble was heard, and Yi Futian was thrown down. However, that elephant leg was shattered as well, and it did not manage to shake Yi Futian. Xiang Mang cast his gaze down, surprised that the attack had not been able to crush Yi Futian. It seemed that the man had inherited the lineage of the divine elephant emperor of the 10 directions. He was unable to believe that the power from just the bone of the demon emperor activated had been so powerful, so much so that it was able to resist his attacks altogether. Xiang Mang's eyes turned fierce and cold. He then stepped down, and shadows of divine elephants were seen running. He took another step again, and it seemed that the air itself rumbled. Yi Futian's blood was churning, and he was feeling restless. That one stomp seemed to have shattered the space all around him. Boom! Yet another step. The sound of the trumpeting rattled the eardrums of all within earshot. Some saints, who had gotten to the place, even went on to shut their senses off. Proving holiness-level saints who were not that formidable even started to bleed from the ears. Divine elephants stomping the sky. Those top figures all paid close attention to that battle. Xiang Mang was a top-notch figure among the younger generations, and had formidable combat prowess. Divine elephant stomping the sky was one of the top spells of the divine elephants, enabling one to stomp down the great path in their vicinity. One step would have been all it needed to cause the bodies of targets to tremble and their blood to rage. Consecutive steps would have been able to crush all the organs in the targets' bodies. The move was so powerful that it could even pin down souls, and it was lauded as one of the major attacks of the demons. Yi Futian hallucinated at that very moment. He was unable even to move using the power of the great path of space. His surroundings seemed to have been stomped down by Xiang Meng in the sky, shrouding everything. The power that was capable of stomping down the great path would, of course, include that of space. Boom. Yet another step. The might of the great path had gotten increasingly powerful. It gathered the might of the great path of their surroundings into a single entity and brought it all down on the space. Yi Futian's body was trembling violently, and his blood raged even more severely. He looked up at that figure high in the air. Dazzling light shot from his eyes. Yi Futian's pupils seemed to have changed at that moment, becoming unbelievably deep. It was as if he was able to see through the source of everything in the world. The winds howled in the sky, stifling the air where the two were. Xiang Meng's formidable might of the elephant was activated, and the great path melded with his being. He stomped down yet another time, bringing might greater than before. Yet another shadow of the elephant appeared, stepping onto that space, as if it was stomping right above Yi Futian's head. Yi Futian's body was shaken and thrown down with a boom. The blood in his body howled. He continued to stare into the air above. There seemed to be a shadow of the divine elephant emperor appearing in his life palace, which was stepping into the air as well. He had acquired the bone of the divine elephant emperor of the 10 directions, which contained the will of the divine elephant emperor of the old days. However, it lacked the most direct form of major attacks of the divine elephants, and the divine elephants seemed to be able to provide him with such spells. Boom. Another step. Yi Futian was shaken and thrown further down. He then grunted. Even so, the spectators were astonished by how powerful Yi Futian was. They were surprised that he was able to last that long. The shocks would have killed common people. None would have been able to take the brunt of the divine elephant stomping the sky spell. At that moment, Yi Futian cast his gaze elsewhere and extended his hand. A golden staff materialized in his hand. The shadow of the divine elephant shrouded his body. Boundless great path of power gathered all over him. Yi Futian's body seemed to have become filled with tremendous power. Boom. He waved his staff about. That feat of being able to use staff techniques, under such heavy pressure, served as a testament to the extent of his raw strength. Xiang Meng frowned slightly, and his eyes remained cold, yet extremely overbearing. He took yet another step down, which caused his surroundings to rattle. Yi Futian's staff lashed out in the air right away. It was as if he was bringing it down on the air itself. However, yet another stifled rumble was heard, and a terrifying explosion sounded in the air. Storms whipped out, and Yi Futian's body was thrown behind. However, he continued to move forward, and his power grew even stronger. Another sweep of the staff flew high up in the air. That terrifying specter of the staff cleaved through the sky, causing all the mighty ones to be astonished. What is this staff technique? The Dragon Emperor looked at Zhu Yan behind him and asked, "Do you know anything about it? Seems familiar." According to what he told me, it was something descended from the 81 strikes of heaven-traversing staff techniques of the apes, when he was training in the lower worlds. Zhu Yan elaborated. The Dragon Emperor nodded, and saw Yi Futian bring down yet another strike with the staff. He then added, "It seems to me that it's how that other one works when he is using a staff. A human youth like this one here is superbly talented." Zhu Yan naturally realized that the other one, that the Dragon Emperor was referring to, was the Emperor of the Apes. When Yi Futian struck out with his fourth attack, it was done against the flow, clashing with the divine elephant stomping the sky spell directly. The space where both of them were seemed about to crumble. The might of that staff technique was actually able to compare with that of the divine elephant stomping the sky. The mighty ones of the demons around were all astonished. The divine elephant stomping the sky was a major attack of formidable power. It was passed down by the divine elephants after all. However, that staff technique actually looked as if it was on par with that attack. Furthermore, it seemed that both attacks were fundamentally identical. They shared a vague resemblance in how the might of the great path was gathered. Yi Futian continued to go against the flow, and brought the seventh attack to bear. Xiang Meng took yet another step. Elephants trumpeted, and were imbued within that leg, while Yi Futian seemed to have melded all staff techniques into that one strike. When the attacks clashed, Countless shadows of the elephants and the staff were destroyed. Both of them were separated from each other. At that time, it was no longer only Yi Futian moving. Xiang Meng was thrown behind as well. Demons, notwithstanding, even top-notch human cultivators were rather shocked at what Yi Futian pulled. That was a pinnacle figure among the divine elephants. And yet that human cultivator was able to hold his own in such a battle. The number one virgin of Brahma's pure sky, Qin He, looked at Yi Futian. He had fought with Zhang Yuan, the one with the supreme body of the great path from the violet heavenly palace before. While Yi Futian was not of some top-notch force, his talents were undeniably shocking nonetheless. Staff techniques of the apes? Even Xiang Meng managed to recognize that. He then looked at Yi Futian and asked, infusing the great path of power of the Supreme Elephant Emperor's bone into that staff attack. That's the might of the Divine Elephant Emperor's bone that you have acquired? Yi Futian gazed at Xiang Meng and answered, it's more than that. Trumpeting of elephants shocked the air as soon as he spoke. There seemed to be billions of shadows of divine elephants glittering in the air, which proceeded to run in the sky. He was extremely glittering all over, shining with golden light. He was clad in the divine elephants, and took one step that shocked the air around him, causing the minds of the spectators to be rattled as well. Xiang Meng, who was standing at the opposite end, experienced this even more so. Dazzling light shot from his eyes as his heart raced. He felt stifled. However, his huge eyes glared at Yi Futian. Boom! Yet another step. Tens of thousands of elephants trumpeted at once, and the air shook. Xiang Meng was rattled, yet he kept his gaze forward. Divine elephant stomping the sky. The spectators all stared at Yi Futian, wondering how it was possible. That move was a major attack spell belonging to the divine elephants, and they would never pass it to outsiders. It was even more so with the case of human cultivators. Furthermore, anyone who was not of the divine elephants would face extreme difficulty in picking up the move. Even if they were to truly train in it, they would have only managed to mimic the form and not be able to bring about its power. What Yi Futian pulled, however, was the true divine elephant stomping the sky. The mighty ones of the divine elephants stared at Yi Futian coldly. Even the divine elephant emperor's eyes glittered. He stepped forward and put his might down, looking at Yi Futian and asking, where did you learn this? Yi Futian looked up at the divine elephant emperor and answered, I did say that it was the divine elephant emperor who chose me to inherit his path. Right now I've completely internalized the bone of the elephant emperor. I only need to observe attacks of the divine elephants to trigger the bone's power, which will then activate the will of the great path of the divine elephant emperor, enabling the move to be passed to me. The divine elephant emperor stared at Yi Futian. He could inherit something like that right away, just by watching the divine elephants use them. Had Yi Futian truly earned the approval of the divine elephant emperor of the 10 directions? But if he had lied, where could that spell have come from? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1414. Inquiry with the Empress. Chapter 1414. Inquiry with the Empress. Xiang Meng stared at Yi Futian. He was unable to believe that a human cultivator had been able to use divine elephant stomping the sky just as he had. That spell had been the ultimate skill, as well as a significant attack spell on the divine elephants. Elephant trumpeting resounded in the air, and Xiang Meng continued moving forward. He wanted to see if Yi Futian's divine elephant stomping the sky had been authentic. Yi Futian stepped out just like Xiang Meng did. Their surroundings rumbled, and the space trembled. Xiang Meng felt unbelievable might shrouding all over him, shaking the insides of his body, causing his blood to boil. There seemed to be a huge divine elephant capable of shocking people's souls bearing down on him. His expression changed somewhat. The state of being of the attack was just like the one he pulled before. What Yi Futian cast right there, and then had not been some cheap imitation, but a true major attack spell of the divine elephants. Both of them headed towards each other. A terrible storm whipped out in the air. The sound of elephant trumpeting shook the place all around them. Everyone looked up at the two of them, while they had not been clashing with each other just yet. The same spell that the two of them cast made it seem like the place all around them was about to explode. Thousands of elephants trumpeted, and their surroundings were rapidly crushed. The storm drowned out their surroundings, and the golden light blinded the spectators. Many saints felt their blood raging. Some even grunted, and their face turned pale. "If you want to have a look at the power of the bone so badly, I'd be happy to oblige," Yi Futian said, and an even more dazzling beam of light was cast from his body. A huge, majestic divine elephant stepped into the air, appearing right above Yi Futian. Thousands of shadows of divine elephants appeared at the same time below, right beneath the feet of the divine elephant emperor. At that moment, as Yi Futian stepped forward, that shadow of the divine elephant emperor moved forward as well. All of the divine elephants moved together, making the scene truly terrifying, as they looked like they were out to flatten the entire place. Xiang Mang felt divine might of the great path cast at him. He lifted his feet and intended to step forward, yet the rumbling continued, and boundless might gushed at his body. A divine elephant in the air seemed to have stepped onto his body, making his blood boil rapidly and his veins pop. Xiang forcefully took a single step out after letting out an angry roar, intending to destroy that attack coming at him. Boom! Xiang Mang's body seemed to have exploded, and terrifying noises were heard from within his body. All of his orifices bled, and his face looked ashen. "How about you let him study and train under you, Divine Elephant Emperor? That would make him half a member of the Divine Elephants," Zhu Yan the Demon Emperor then said. It was evident that he was vouching for Yi Futian. Not only had Yi Futian acquired the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of the 10 Directions, but he had also picked up the Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky spell. If he were not to be lumped together with the Divine Elephants, they would have found such a turn of events to be an insult. As such, Zhu Yan proposed that Yi Futian be allowed to study under the Elephant Emperor. The kid broke the limit of the Divine Mountain back in the purple underworld and refused the Violet Heavenly Palace's invitations. He also beat every challenge that the ones from the Violet Heavenly Palace threw at him. He let anyone from any plane of sainthood pick their challenge. "You've seen what he is capable of, Elephant Emperor, and he will not have you down," the head of the Jiang clan said. He naturally knew of the relationship between Gu Donglu and Yi Futian. At present, Gu Donglu had acquired the lineage of the demon monarch. If Yi Futian were to be able to form an amicable relationship with the divine elephants, all of them would have a greater influence in the demon realm. The divine elephant emperor's eyes were huge, and his form was extremely imposing. Those bell-like eyes of his stared at Yi Futian, seemingly thinking of something. He learned staff techniques of the apes before, and that will make him a friend of the demons. "It is something worth considering, Elephant Emperor," the Dragon Emperor added. The Divine Elephant Emperor continued to eye Yi Futian and asked, "Do you mind heading to the Divine Elephant's place with me?" "I naturally wouldn't refuse such an invitation," Yi Futian replied frankly. The Divine Elephant Emperor was one of the big shots in the demon realm. If he were to get on the wrong side of the Divine Elephants, things would be disastrous for him. It was something that he needed to see through. It might have been a disaster lying in wait, but it could also be an opportunity. He had been able to use the Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky spell only by seeing Xiang Mang use it before. If the Divine Elephant Emperor had indeed been willing to teach him some spells unique to the Divine Elephants, the presence of that bone in his body would allow him to pick those spells up quickly. What about him then? The king of Yingzhou Mountain looked at Gu Donglu and asked. The matter had not been settled before Yi Futian stole everyone's attention. "Do you all remember the prophet's words?" A voice was heard at that moment. Everyone looked at the one who spoke. It was none other than the Lord of the Sky Demon Court. His words had a lot of weight, and all the monsters turned their attention to him. Said Lord was basking in the divine light of the sun. He then turned to look at Gu Donglu and said, "The prophet prophesied that there would be a change in all of the heavenly mandate realm, and significant happenings would take place in the demon realm. Now, I'm sure that the significant happenings began with Origin Mountains. As you can all see, the entire heavenly mandate realm will soon change, although no one knows how such changes will come. In that case, I propose that we go with the flow of things. The prophet had prophesied that there would be a major figure, and all wondered who it would be. The answer remained shrouded in mystery even then. Would it be Gu Tianxing or Gu Donglu? However, none had expected there would be two members of the younger generation caught at the center of the storm. There might have been more to them than what met the eye. As such, one simply needed to have their eyes peeled for further happenings. Everyone saw fit to see how things would have turned out to be. Become the king of the demon realm? Us old people aside, I'm sure a good number of the younger generation of all demon clans here wouldn't have agreed to that easily. While Gu Tianxing had bestowed him with extremely formidable talents, the path of cultivation will be anything but easy, the Dragon Emperor said at that moment, and all the top-notch figures of the demon realm nodded. Among the top demon clans, there would be many extraordinary demons, like Xiang Mang, and every single one of them would be legendary in their own right. Gu Donglu inherited the laws of origin, and he had to be able to first eclipse those younger generation members before coming to surpass those who were his seniors. Only by then could he get anywhere near becoming a king of the demon realm. The Sky Demon Court was an alliance. There were several extremely extraordinary younger members within the court, and all of them would have become Gu Donglio's match. There were no demons who did not want to see the demon realm unified. Let's go. The Dragon Emperor turned around and left. Zhu Yan looked at Zhu Zhao and the others and said, "Time to go." The trip would have been a very memorable one for Zhu Zhao. Gu Donglu seemed to be still steeped in his training in the sky. He had inherited too many lineages of the Great Path. Despite having the protection of the 9 divine beings, he needed time to internalize what he had just picked up. Mighty ones from all directions were getting ready to leave. Futian was seen casting his gaze elsewhere. There stood the most legendary of empresses in all of the heavenly mandate realm, the Lady of Brahma's pure sky. Senior, there was once a woman in the 9 states of the lower worlds who tapped into your will, Empress. Do you have any impression of that happening? Futian asked the Lady of Brahma's pure sky. While he had asked that before, he still hoped the Empress would save Jiyu. With the Empress right before him at the moment, there probably would not be anyone else who was clearer about Jiyu's fate back then. The Lady of Brahma's pure sky took a plain look at Futian. Those eyes of hers were considered perfect, and every inch of her body seemed to be filled with the essence of everything in existence, making her look flawless. If you know of me, then you know that my will reaches all 3,000 realms. My will fills all of the 3,000 realms of the Great Path, and there is no way I can remember everything, the Lady of Brahma's pure sky said plainly. Futian's face became ashen after hearing that. He had clung to that bit of hope all those years ago, hoping that Jiyu would have been saved by the Empress. And now, the Empress did not even have any recollection of that happening, let alone having actually saved Jiyu. In truth, he should have long realized that the Lady of Brahma's pure sky was a being like no other. She would not have spared any thought to just that one person in all of the living beings in existence, and saved Jiyu. Futian had only been fooling himself, and he was only doing so because he wished things had been so. Xia Qingyuan, who was at Futian's side, saw how dejected he was. Her hand twitched, and it touched Futian's hand, but she eventually pulled it back. "Farewell," the Empress of the Brahma's pure sky said before turning around and leaving. Those from Brahma's pure sky all followed her lead. A group of people went far away in an instant. The Lady of Brahma's pure sky, who was in the air, actually flickered. However, that lasted only for an instant, and she returned to her usual composure. Nothing else seemed to have been seen in those eyes of hers. The mighty ones around left one after another. The storm that was kicked up by Gu Tianxing seemed to have come to an end by then. However, the effects of what he did seemed to long from over. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14:15, Divine Elephant Emperor's Question. Chapter 14:15, Divine Elephant Emperor's Question. The mighty ones all dispersed, and there was no more of that demonic aura high up in the air at Origin Mountains. Furthermore, the luck contained with that mountain had all been passed down to Gu Donglu. Everything that was contained within that vast mountain had all been devoured by that divine matrix, which was then siphoned into Gu Dongliu's body. Gu Tianxing had been laying all of that out all on his own, just to create someone who had the potential to step into that supreme plane. It was not known at the moment if he had succeeded or not. All the mighty ones returned one by one. There were dynastic forces at the center of the heavenly mandate realm, and Ren Huang ruled all of those forces. All of those powers were coalesced into a monstrous entity, known as the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty. The Heavenly Mandate Dynasty was at the center of all the dynasties. The Heavenly Mandate Dynasty had been restored after that devastating battle all those years ago. Mighty ones and geniuses emerged like a flood within the past century, making it seem like they were about to reclaim their glory as the utmost supreme force. The Heavenly Dynasty had been the oldest of all the forces found in the realm. Its history and wealth were rich, and it reigned over the dynasties. At that moment, in a tall, majestic palace in the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty, the dynastic overlord sat above, and many Renhuangs were in the hall, making the scene terrifying. Gu Tianxing passed down both the laws of origin and the mystical ways onto Gu Donglu. While that son of Gu Jiangnan is young, he might become a monstrous figure in the future. What do you think about it? The dynastic overlord asked solemnly, while Gu Donglu was, presently, a fragile, insignificant being not worthy of even mentioning. It remained a fact that none of those top-notch geniuses had been able to reach his height. The height Gu Tianxing reached all those years ago was even more unimaginable and out of reach. As of that heavenly plane, he deemed that it was just Gu Tianxing's delusion. But then again, the overlord saw the need to be on guard nonetheless. There was one who had been passed down by all that laws of origin, gathered by Gu Tianxing after all. If they were to lower their guard, the heavenly mandate realm might end up facing yet another being capable of threatening them. They and the Gu clan were sworn enemies after all. After that trip to Origin Mountains, both he and the Palace Lord of Violet Heavenly Palace never returned. It was not that they did not want to, but that they knew where they were now. After giving their all to resist attacks from Gu Tianxing's divine matrix, they ended up injured. Furthermore, their injuries were serious. Given the plane they were at, injuries of any kind would be grievous, as injuries hardly happened to them in the first place. While that descendant of the Gu clan is of no importance right now, it is still best to get rid of him as soon as possible, someone answered. They and the overlord shared the same opinion. The lineage inherited by Gu Donglu was simply too terrifying, and they were unable to afford to let their guard down. It would have been possible that this insignificant figure would become a major threat in the future. The celestial gate of vast heaven pretended to have wiped the Gu clan out all those years ago. None of us expected that they reached a pact instead. Gu Tianxing knew that his days were numbered back in that battle, and there was no way the Gu clan would have been able to emerge unscathed. So the celestial gate of vast heaven and the other two major clans teamed up to set things up with the Gu clan, also that what happened today would come to pass. Now, they will never easily let the last descendant of the Gu clan perish, the dynastic overlord continued. Everyone nodded in agreement. If they were to kill Gu Donglu, they would have had to wage war again with the celestial gate of vast heavenly, obliterating them once and for all before they were able to kill Gu Donglu. However, they had just recovered, and if they were fighting such a war again, they would suffer considerable losses again. If that were to happen, the 10,000 Divine Mountain and Brahma's Pure Sky would be able to get ahead of them. Both of those forces had developed into formidable forces with a massive number of mighty ones at their disposal. It was due to both the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty and the Gu clan was backed into a corner in more ways than one, that they went all out to kill each other without considering the consequences. Both of them would have remained at the pinnacle of the Heavenly Mandate realm otherwise, pinning down all the other forces. Someone was walking in at the moment, bowing solemnly to the dynastic overlord. The crown prince has returned, the messenger reported. He is now a holiness of nirvana. Good. The eyes of the overlord sparkled as he cast his gaze far away, as if to pierce through the void before him. All the other Renhuang below smiled, and their minds rattled. In that battle all those years ago, the previous crown prince plotted and killed Gu Jiangnan, invoking Gu Tianxing's towering fury, and he went on a killing spree at the Heavenly Mandate dynasty. The previous crown prince was dead, and that had been the most humiliating part of their history. They had never suffered a grievous insult. The previous overlord was of extremely formidable training, yet he had fallen in that war all the same. None of the princes of Heavenly Mandate realm from then on out had been able to compare with the previous crown prince, until the birth of the youngest prince. Said prince had displayed exceptional talent from a very young age. He was made the crown prince officially when he turned 18. He had then been training for over 50 years, and had become a holiness of nirvana. That was a talent like no other. He was born to be an emperor, and the next dynastic overlord at that. Congratulations, my son. The dynastic overlord cast his gaze far away, and saw a figure walking straight into the great hall of the palace. He was dazzling all over like he was clad in divine light. His eyes contained terrifying brilliance, as if he was able to see through the void. He was filled with a supreme bearing throughout his entire being. Father. The crown prince bowed and then looked at the others. Greetings, emperors. The crown prince is of such magnificent talent, and is unparalleled in his speed of advancement throughout the entire Heavenly Mandate realm. Furthermore, his plane is stable, and his aura brimming. It is indeed a pity that all in Heavenly Mandate realm know only of the crown prince's existence, but remain oblivious to the extent of the crown prince's powers. A Renhuang then said, now that Gu Tianxing created a monster, we can finally get the crown prince to show what he is truly made of. Yet another Renhuang added. It was apparent that the dynasty held the crown prince in the highest regard. My son was born supreme, and none have been able to beat him. It has indeed been hard for you throughout the years, the dynastic overlord said to the prince. The people of the realm probably knew only that Heavenly Mandate dynasty had gotten themselves a new crown prince. Yet few had seen the new crown prince in person. That was because the death of the previous crown prince left a traumatic blow to the dynastic overlord, resulting in him being extremely protective of the crown prince. He had even sent the crown prince on a pilgrimage to other realms. And now, the crown prince was already a holiness of nirvana, making him only one step away from becoming a Renhuang. The prophet of the demon realm prophesied that Heavenly Mandate realm would see great changes. And everyone wondered who would cause that change in the Heavenly Mandate realm, reaching the very top. The Heavenly Mandate dynasty was making preparations for the future, and so did other top forces. Everyone continued to make preparations after they returned. It was possible that a huge storm would sweep all over the Heavenly Mandate realm in the near future. There was a huge mountain of rock in the demon realm. That rocky mountain was formed naturally. When seen from afar, the mountain looked like an incredibly huge statue, resembling that of a divine elephant, and it looked shocking. There were demonic palaces on top of that boundlessly huge divine elephant rock mountain. That was where the mighty ones of the divine elephants stayed. The surrounding areas had countless demonic mighty ones taking up residence. That was an extremely renowned demon city in the demon realm, Divine Elephant City. When they gazed upon that skyscraping divine elephant mountain, they would have all sported solemn expressions, hoping to one day train in that mountain, especially the monsters among the divine elephants. In that huge majestic divine elephant mountain, there was divine might of the great path that was extremely formidable, making it very difficult for anyone who was below the saint plane to venture into it. A saintly dazzling screen of light shrouded the entire divine mountain, and a group of people appeared somewhere on the mountain. Those people were none other than Futian and the others, who were all arranged to stay there. At that moment the demon emperor, whose bearing was extremely powerful, he then said to Futian, "Come with me." "Will do." Futian nodded and followed. The two of them came before a divine elephant palace, and there was an overwhelming figure, who was found sitting cross-legged outside, the divine elephant emperor. "Come and have a sit," the divine elephant emperor said, and cast his gaze below the divine mountain. Futian walked to the side of the divine elephant emperor, and stood there. "Sit," the divine elephant emperor added. Futian went on to sit quietly. He cast his gaze forward, which allowed him to see the divine elephant city far away. "How do you feel here?" the divine elephant emperor asked. "Majestic, solemn," Yi Futian answered in a low voice. The Divine Elephant Mountain was crafted by the Divine Elephant Emperor of the 10 Directions all those years ago, and it remains standing through years of turmoil, the Divine Elephant Emperor said. Yi Futian did not say anything in reply. Do you know why I have invited you to come to the Divine Elephants? The Emperor continued. I have no idea. Yi Futian shook his head. Some guts you have for still daring to show up. The Divine Elephant Emperor then added plainly, say it. How did you manage to learn the Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky spell? Yi Futian was dumbfounded as he looked at the Divine Elephant Emperor. The Divine Elephants have some kind of divine art called bone crafting. A demon emperor, even after they have passed, will imbue every part of their body with the will of the Great Path still. However, bone crafting of the Divine Elephants allows our demon emperors to infuse their power in their bones, which will then be passed to future generations. Said bone could be planted into one's body, with such a part imbued with towering might of the Great Path in their bodies. If said person were to use attacks of the Divine Elephants, it would then resonate with the bone, making their attacks even more powerful. The Divine Elephant Emperor then slowly continued, but the Divine Elephant bones absolutely did not allow for direct transmission of methods, and no one outside of the Divine Elephants has ever gotten such a function out of the bones by using them. As such, you couldn't learn the Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky spell through such means. Yi Futian felt formless pressure around him. He only realized that the Divine Elephants had such special abilities then. I picked it up when I was fighting before. It might be something that has to do with the bone nonetheless, Yi Futian said. The Emperor turned around to look at Yi Futian with a grim expression. Do you have any idea what kind of a level that spell is at? Do you know what level of comprehension you would need just to take a look and manage to pick it up, even when it still has something to do with the bone? You don't believe me? Yi Futian asked. I believe you. The Emperor then said plainly. It is impossible for you to have picked the spell up from elsewhere. As such, you could have only learned it while you were fighting with Xiang Meng. You really do have immense talent. So, was that how you picked those staff techniques up as well? Yi Futian's pupils contracted. He had never expected the Divine Elephant Emperor to have linked the spell to his staff techniques. Seeing that Yi Futian was silent, the Emperor continued. The reason why I didn't bring you here before was that I heard something. You were said to be the last person the Prophet met, no? No one else gave that any thought before, as no one would have thought that the Prophet would have passed in meditation because of a human saint cultivator. Yi Futian had only been one of the people who had been summoned by the Prophet, which made him no different from the others. However, if he were to link how he had been able to learn Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky simply by mere observation, then the Divine Elephant Emperor would not have been able to help but to link that to something else. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 14:16, Changes Outside. Chapter 14:16. Changes outside. Was it just a coincidence that Yi Futian was the last person who the Prophet met? If one truly did not know him, one would not have had suspicions about anything else, even if he were supremely talented. The Prophet was someone very capable and very revered in the demon realm, after all, and the Prophet had met a good number of unbelievable geniuses. However, even top demonic beasts would have had a hard time meeting the Prophet. That Prophet definitely wouldn't have been willing to pass, just because of the talents of a member of the younger generation, being extremely talented. If this were not a coincidence, it would have been a testament that there was more to Yi Futian than what met the eye. He would have had huge secrets about him, enough to move the Prophet to pass on for him. Yi Futian turned his eyes to the Divine Elephant Emperor. He never expected to have been able to link the Divine Elephant Stomping the Sky spell to that many things. In truth, he still was unable to fathom what made the Prophet do that. I do have some special abilities, which are what resulted in my extraordinarily keen comprehension. Furthermore, I indeed was the last person that the Prophet met. However, the Prophet simply took a look at me, and I was already out of the Prophet's palace. As to why the Prophet has passed on, I'm just as baffled about it, Yi Futian elaborated. He was telling the truth. The Divine Elephant Emperor nodded slightly, but he wondered if it had to do with his keen comprehension. Just what kind of comprehension would allow a person to learn Divine Elephant, stomping the sky with a mere look? It was worth noting that the spell itself was some major attack spell that exceeded Yi Futian's plane. Even those from the Divine Elephants would require a considerable amount of time to pick it up methodically before they could develop any proficiency. Yi Futian was but a saint after all, and he would not have developed such a high comprehension of the Great Path. Furthermore, the staff techniques of the apes reminded the emperor of an old friend back in the demon realm. He had once fought said friend many years ago, so he was very familiar with the staff techniques of said friend. While Yi Futian's staff techniques were rather different, as it had been imbued with what he learned throughout the years, the emperor was nonetheless able to sense some bit of familiarity with those techniques. When such correlations were made, Yi Futian would have been more than he claimed to be. If it had not been for Yi Futian being able to use Divine Elephant stomping the sky right away, the emperor would not have thought of it at all. However, when he made connections between all those points, he was able to come to something somehow. This is all such a headache, the Divine Elephant Emperor muttered to himself deep down. The mighty ones of the Divine Elephants were most versed in the ways of sheer power, and they did not like using their brains much. The emperor had gotten tired of speculating. If that indeed turned out to be accurate, then the prophet had indeed chosen to pass in meditation instead of divulging any severe divine secrets. As such, he saw no point to dwell on the matter any further, as he knew that nothing good would come out of it. The Divine Elephants are of unparalleled strength. When cultivation reaches extreme levels, we can pin down the great path of all around us. The Divine Elephant Emperor of the 10 Directions had been able to get close to the heavenly path all those years ago, enabling him to pin down a vast area with just a single step. Now that you've acquired the most important bone of our ancestor, the Divine Elephant Emperor of the 10 Directions, and you've internalized it, then we can say that you're considered to have a part of the Divine Elephants within you. The Divine Elephant Emperor said this to Yi Futian instead of delving on the previous matter. That lightened the pressure that Yi Futian felt considerably. Seems like the Divine Elephant Emperor has no intention of continuing to ask questions. Now that they were where the Divine Elephants were, if the Divine Elephant Emperor wanted to know something, there was no way he could have been able to hide it. All demonic clans will have their extremely formidable spells passed down, and forging one's bones is one of the ways the Divine Elephants do so. Other than the Divine Elephant stomping the sky, which is a major attack spell, there is also another ability called Divine Elephant Void Splitting Fist. This attack spell is used with absolute power. In ancient times, when all top-notch demon clans warred with each other, all had their specialties. For instance, we of the Divine Elephants were proficient in the ways of overbearing might, and there were also the likes of the Kuanping and the Rock, who were among demonic beasts proficient in unparalleled speed, zipping about in the air. It enabled them never to be caught at a disadvantage in a confrontation. The Emperor then continued, "We of the Divine Elephants have created the Divine Elephant Void Splitting Fist, which was a major suppression spell. The spell utilizes the great path of extreme might and suppression, allowing a single punch to break the great path of space with sheer force, pinning down a vast area. I shall now pass that spell on to you." Yi Futian looked at the Divine Elephant Emperor with a dumbfounded expression. That was one of the ultimate spells of the Divine Elephants, and he wondered if it would have been alright to just pass it down to him like that. If there is a day when you no longer need the bone of the Divine Elephant Emperor of the 10 Directions, do return it to the Divine Elephants, the Emperor continued. "I will, Senior," Yi Futian nodded and said. An extremely powerful aura enveloped him as soon as he finished. It was as if he had been placed in an independent space. The Emperor was standing at the front. A terrifying pressure swept all over the place, and thousands of Divine Elephant shadows appeared all around the Emperor. Those shadows seemed to be about to meld with the Emperor. All force was merged within a single entity. When the Emperor clenched his fist, towering might emerged. A terrifying whirlpool of power seemed to have appeared before the Divine Elephant Emperor's arm. Their surroundings felt stifling. The emperor then took a step forward and extended his arm, throwing a punch. Stifling rumbles were heard. It was as if the space all around them had been shattered, making the attack sound like thunder. He then pulled his fist back and then asked Futian, "Are you able to understand it?" "I didn't." Futian shook his head. The emperor's plane was just too high. The state of mind achieved when he attacked was not something Futian could easily grasp. The emperor did not say anything, and continued to demonstrate the move to him. The emperor went on to demonstrate divine elephant stomping the sky after a while. The one that Futian picked up from observing Xiang Mang was of a state that was leagues different from that demonstrated by the emperor. The state of mind imbued when the emperor used the move was something several magnitudes of order above him. While Futian was indeed proficient with the spell, he had not actually truly mastered it. There was still much to learn. What he was able to pick was based on the foundations laid down by Xiang Mang, and what he pulled was equal to Xiang Mang at most. However, such major attacks were something that could get increasingly strong as one's training progressed. Time passed, and many mighty ones from the demon realm stepped into the Origin Mountains again. However, Origin Mountains had been reduced to a simple, commonplace, and those demons had all returned disappointed. While that storm had indeed come to a close, the effects from it continued to affect cultivators from all over Heavenly Mandate Realm regardless if they were humans or demonic beasts. The one genius from Heavenly Mandate Dynasty, who had been made the Crown Prince at 18, and was seldom seen, had truly gone into the world to continue training, bringing extremely overwhelming might to bear on many mighty ones, and defeating a great many holiness of nirvanas within the dynasty's territory. He was lauded to be a supreme one from birth, and was destined to be the one to succeed the dynastic overlord when he stepped into the pinnacle of Renhuang Plain. Read more. Chapter on novelful. The Crown Prince of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty caused quite a commotion after going into the world, and many wondered if he was meant to be the one to be at odds with that extreme genius that Gu Tianxing created. There was news later that the Crown Prince of the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty paid a visit to Brahma's pure sky, and sparred with some virgins there. However, they did not clash until their relations became strained, as the Crown Prince had his eye on Qin He, the number one virgin. The Heavenly Mandate Dynasty seemed intent on letting the Crown Prince be paired with Qin He. That seemed to be something meant to take on Gu Tianxing. Gu Tianxing proposed that Gu Donglu be married to a goddess from Brahma's pure sky, thus allying with the two parties. The Heavenly Mandate Dynasty seemed to only take the first opportunity, being the first to ally with Brahma's pure sky. But then again, there was no way the number one virgin of Brahma's pure sky would simply agree to be married. As such, that matter had to be put aside for the time being. It was at the moment but a proposal from the Heavenly Mandate Dynasty. They were not the ones doing something, as there were also top-notch geniuses emerging from 10,000 Divine Mountain to begin on their pilgrimage. Everyone was doing something to prepare for the future. More shocking news was heard soon after. The Violet Heavenly Palace had gathered cultivators from all over Heavenly Mandate Realm, and they were about to throw a grand feast in order to select a group of extraordinarily talented people to be imparted with the Way of Lightning. That time, it was open to more than just the 8 orthodox forces of thunder, as every cultivator from all over the Heavenly Mandate Realm was allowed to participate. Furthermore, top-notch forces from all over the Heavenly Mandate Realm were invited. It was said that the Violet Heavenly Palace truly prepared to pass on the strongest great path of lightning, and there was a possibility of being selected to become the personal student of the Palace Lord right away. All top-notch figures began to foster extraordinary future generations one after another. One could only imagine the commotion such news caused. During usual days, a figure like the Palace Lord of the Violet Heavenly Palace, who stood at the very pinnacle, was someone that people would not have the chance to meet. Countless ambitious cultivators attended the event, arriving at the Violet Heavenly Palace. The humans of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were not the only ones affected, as the news caused a commotion that was just as great in the demon realm. Many top-notch mighty ones from renowned forces ventured outside, getting ready to go on a pilgrimage in the human realm. Countless cultivators throughout Heavenly Mandate Realm were invited to witness the event at Violet Heavenly Palace shortly after. When the grand event was held at Violet Heavenly Palace, Yi Futian and his people came to Celestial Demon City from Divine Elephant City. They then went to the Demon Emperor's palace of Celestial Demon City. Zhu Yan, the Demon Emperor, received them personally. Zhu Yan then looked at those behind Yi Futian at the hall, surprised to find that the mighty ones of Divine Elephants were present. He was unable to help but quip, "Seems like you've earned the approval of the Divine Elephant Emperor." "I'm here specifically to express my gratitude, Senior." Yi Futian bowed solemnly. If it had not been for Zhu Yan speaking on their behalf, things would have ended very differently. "That's hardly worth mentioning. The Divine Elephant Emperor is a senior of mine, and he has his mind. No words of mine could have swayed him. You're indeed destined to be with the Divine Elephants. Given how you've acquired a bone of the Divine Elephant's ancestor, you have yourself to thank for all of that." Zhu Yan waved and said. He had not been able to discern anything when he had acquired the bone, after all. It was indeed Yi Futian's own doing that led to such turn of events. "Make yourselves at home." Zhu Yan left after saying that. Yi Futian looked at Zhu Zhao and said, "Anything worth taking note of from that place? Any news about my brother? The Heavenly Mandate Realm is very lively these days. It seems like what Gu Tianxing did to that brother of yours has made those top-notch figures unable to sit still. All geniuses from all forces are out in the world for training now. The Violet Heavenly Palace is hosting a grand event now, gathering countless mighty ones from all over the Heavenly Mandate Realm. There is even a good number of monsters from the Demon Realm attending it." Zhu Zhao elaborated. "As for your brother being taken away by those from the Celestial Gate of Vast Heaven, I've no idea where he ended up." Yi Futian nodded, and Zhu Zhao asked, "So, you have any plans of staying here at the Demon Realm to train? Or will you be heading back there?" "I'll be heading back," Yi Futian said. "I'm thinking of heading out there myself." "Let's go together," Zhu Zhao said. He had been looking forward to going to the world of human cultivators for a long time. Chapter 1417. The Grand Event at Violet Heavenly Palace. Chapter 1417. The Grand Event at Violet Heavenly Palace. The northwestern part of the Heavenly Mandate Realm was the turf of the Violet Heavenly Palace, the supreme force of the region. The 8 orthodox forces of thunder of the Heavenly Mandate Realm were all found there. The most renowned city in that region was no doubt the place where the Violet Heavenly Realm was at, Thunder Punishment City. The city was right below the Violet Heavenly Palace, and the entire city was shrouded in lightning, making the will of the great path of lightning extremely thick there. One only needed to look up to find flashes of lightning everywhere in that city. The Thunder Punishment City was named after the flashing lightning above. When the ones below cast their gaze far away, they were able to easily see the floating city hovering high above in the sky right above Thunder Punishment City itself. That floating city had boundless might of lightning all around it. It was as if that was where the will of the great path of lightning shrouding the entire Thunder Punishment City came from, and the floating city hung in the sky like some divine hall. One would be able to see that on the edge of that floating city, there seemed to be a boundlessly huge platform, and many blurry figures were gathering on it. That was where the supreme force of the region in the Heavenly Mandate Realm, the Violet Heavenly Palace, was found. Many mighty ones gathered around the Violet Heavenly Palace to participate in the grand event. There were also many cultivators coming from afar. All of them headed in the direction of the Violet Heavenly Palace. There were many extremely powerful beings found there for many days. They were all training in various places in the Heavenly Mandate Realm, and they had only been able to showcase their frightening talent due to such a grand event being held. I wonder just how many students the Violet Heavenly Palace will accept in this event. I've heard that exceptional students from the 8 Orthodox forces participated in the event this time, taking the opportunity to get into the palace. Furthermore, many cultivators practice the way of lightning here as well. I don't care about any of that. There is only one thing in my mind. Will the palace lord take any personal students? And will any of them be able to compare to the likes of Zhang Yuan? While it is said that mighty ones are everywhere, But Zhang Yuan is of the supreme body of the Great Path. He was born with supreme talents in the ways of lightning. He is destined to become someone standing at the pinnacle of the heavenly mandate realm. How could anyone compare to him? It's extremely difficult to get someone who can get anywhere near him already. People talked and lauded the one who possessed the supreme body of the Great Path as unbelievably dazzling. The one who stood at the very tip of a pyramid. Few throughout all top forces in heavenly mandate were on par with him. A top force could only foster one or two such figures. Getting yet another of such magnificent talents was deemed to be so unbelievably complicated that it was considered almost impossible. They were, however, able to compare with geniuses of top-notch forces who came to witness the event. But then again, it is said that geniuses of other pinnacle forces have shown up en masse as well. It is quite a pity that they are probably not going to fight one another. That person who sang praises to Zhang Yuan earlier continued, feeling that such a situation was a pity. I'm rather curious though, how would the talents of that monster fostered by Gu Tianxing, the peerlessly extraordinary someone all those years ago, fare? Is he so powerful that the top-notch forces will begin fostering future generations, just to prepare for what is to come? Gu Tianxing was the type of person who emerges once in 1,000 years. That coupled with what happened in the Origin Mountains, and the younger man being the son of Gu Jiangnan, means the last descendant of the Gu clan probably can shoot for the skies right away. Even so, I don't think he'd be so powerful that he could compare to Zhang Yuan, who possesses a supreme body of the Great Path. Someone who greatly admired the Violet Heavenly Palace added. That remains to be seen. I have heard things from the Origin Mountains. That young man who messed up the Purple Underground and refused to join the Violet Heavenly Palace, Futian, demonstrated unbelievable talent as well. He was able to even fight with top fighters of the Divine Elephants. He was capable of using Divine Elephant stomping the sky, a skill unique to the Divine Elephants. He is now with the Divine Elephant Emperor. That guy who messed the Violet Heavenly Palace up? Someone said this but quickly scanned the place, feeling like what they said was a taboo of sorts. The Violet Heavenly Palace was beaten in a challenge, and they had been allowed to pick anyone from their ranks, of any of 4 planes of sainthood, to fight people of corresponding planes. That naturally was not something to be proud of. Yeah, who would have thought that a member of the younger generation, who was challenging the Divine Mountain, to see the Emperor of Purple Underground, would have such immense talent? There is now also the Crown Prince of Heavenly Mandate Dynasty, getting into the world in the Heavenly Mandate realm. That one guy from 10,000 Divine Mountain, the #1 Virgin of Brahma's pure sky, and that descendant of Celestial Gate of Vast Sky. Who knows who among those people will be able to stand at the pinnacle of the Heavenly Mandate realm in the end? The ones there were not the only ones who talked. Many mighty ones throughout Thunder Punishment City were talking about the grand event as well. So much so that even the cities below Thunder Punishment City were all talking. That place was the entrance to the city, and only the ones permitted entry would have been allowed to step inside the city, basking in the might of the Great Path of Lightning. The place was garrisoned by a massive army. Many came and reported their identities. They were then inspected before being permitted entry into the city. Despite what it looked like, that was actually considered rather lenient. In the past, getting inside Thunder Punishment City to train would have been very difficult. The 7th Swordsman, here to witness the event in Thunder Punishment City, a handsome swordsman clad in white said at that moment. His eyes shone with demonic grace, and he wore a sword on his back. The guard took a look at him. Countless people wanted entry into the city to witness the event, and that intention alone would not have sufficed. Futian unleashed his aura. At the same time, lightning flashed dazzlingly about him, and that was the infernal thunder of Wutu. I'm from somewhere under the rule of Purple Underground, and I've ventured into the Divine Mountain and gained the path of infernal thunder of Wutu, Futian continued. Only then did the guard allow him to pass. Futian had earned the right to enter the city. So you are from somewhere under the rule of the Purple Underground, then? A group of people called at that moment. They were being inspected as well, but were granted passage right away, after their identities were verified. Indeed. Futian nodded. We are of the Purple Underground. If you ventured into the Divine Mountain, and have gained the way of infernal thunder of Wutu, why haven't you joined our ranks? A young man asked. My training is not something worth mentioning, and I would have been an insult to the Purple Underground, Futian answered. I see that your will of the great path of the infernal thunder of Wutu is actually rather decent. You wouldn't be anywhere near being an insult. Another one in the group added. Since we happen to meet here, let's travel together then. Very well. Futian smiled and nodded. He did not expect to run into cultivators of the Purple Underground there. It was quite a coincidence. You go by the name Seventh Swordsman. Then? So, you're here to witness the event as well? A young man of the Purple Underground smiled and asked. They continued moving forward as they talked, heading towards the Thunder Punishment City, which was basking in lightning. Indeed, it's a grand event of the Violet Heavenly Palace after all. I wouldn't miss it for anything. Futian smiled and answered. Well said. Such a grand event is an extremely rare opportunity as well. While our teachers did not request that we participate in the event, we wanted to come anyway. Another at his side said. They were not the students at the core of the Purple Underground, or they would have come with their teachers, instead of just showing up by themselves. Brother Chongqing might have been able to train in the Violet Heavenly Palace this time. I'd, of course, want to take the opportunity to see for myself just how capable he would have been. A female cultivator smiled and said. Zhang Chongqing. Futian looked at her and asked. Is there another brother Chongqing in the Purple Underground? The woman chuckled and continued. It seems like you've heard of brother Chongqing. I have. The one who withstood 900 lightning strikes. Futian nodded. You have ventured into the Divine Mountain of Wutu before, so you should know how great the pressure of that place was. I see that your ways of infernal thunder of Wutu are not weak. How many strikes were you been able to withstand when you were in there? The woman smiled and asked. 1,000. Futian lowered his voice and said. The ones from the Purple Underground were all baffled. 1,000 strikes of the heavenly thunder meant that he had broken the limit, and there had only been one person capable of such a feat. That man was rather renowned all over Heavenly Mandate Realm at the moment. They had all seen what he was like in the Purple Underground. The man seemed humble, but was extremely prideful, so much so that he had declined an invitation from the Violet Heavenly Palace. That man was rumored to have messed up the Violet Heavenly Palace with his people later. Just kidding. 100. Futian smiled and said, after seeing how baffled those people were, looking carefree as he did so. All of them chuckled. They thought a cultivator from a territory under the rule of the Purple Underground would have been tense seeing them. Yet that seventh swordsman seemed to have a very powerful aura, and they deemed that he was anything but weak. As for that man who withstood 1,000 lightning strikes, some wondered if he had been even able to make it out of the Divine Elephant's place alive. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.